Hello everyone. Hello everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. The future is already here. It's just unevenly distributed.
Hallo iedereen. Het is een groot genoegen om met u vandaag. De toekomst is al hier, is gewoon gelijkmatig verdeeld.
Was that correct? Was it? It was not so good. Yeah, it was, but better than nothing. So it's interesting. I use this app called Say Hi pretty much around the world, and if you keep it simple and you speak clearly, it works fine. So the other day in a sushi restaurant in Japan, I had a conversation with the sushi chef for half an hour about Japan. Keep it very simple, right? As soon as you speak normal, not really. When will this be the future so we can speak to this machine like we speak to each other? Maybe never? Do we actually want that? There's a guy now who built another app. I think it's called Waverly Labs Pilot, where you have a little earpiece, like a CIA type thing, and anybody can speak to you within reach of, say, 3 meters, and you don't have to hold anything, it just automatically translates in real time. So our kids will argue that they don't have to learn languages. Why would you learn languages if you can just speak to the app? You can marry a woman from Siberia and you just speak to the app, right? I mean, you don't need to actually know anything. And you could argue that in 10 years, maybe we don't have to learn handwriting because a computer will just do whatever we tell it to do. But there are a few things that make us human. And that is a big question. I was listening to the discussion earlier about what is human, what is not human. That's an important conversation. Because neither are we machines, I believe, nor are the customers machines. They're actually the opposite than machines. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what this means and just to explain what a futurist actually does. As a futurist, I don't actually predict the future. I work on what's called practical wisdoms. And we'll just turn the timer on here, make sure I don't go completely over. Okay, practical wisdoms is what I do. So I try to find things that are really important that can be applied to today, more or less today. I work in a time frame of 5 to 7 years, maybe 10 years. Everything after that is kind of science fiction. And there are people doing this, and they have good skills like Ray Kurzweil and of course Alvin Toffler, all the futurists. But my work is what it is, to share observations. And this is crucially important. I was listening to the conversation earlier. We're all observing things all the time. And from the observations, we can hopefully derive foresight, what's called foresight. Foresight is not prediction. That's not going to say, like, this stock is going to do really well, so, I advise you to buy it. But foresight, I used to be in the music business as a musician and producer. And in 1999, we had Napster. Remember Napster, the free downloading, we could download whatever we want, right? In 1999, I started a company that was like Spotify today. Because I thought, okay, music is going to be in the cloud. Music will not be on plastic, it will not be in some box, it will just be in the cloud and we'll just hit a button. And I was right about that, but I was about 15 years too early. So I spent $21 million trying to realize this idea, which was at least 5 or 7 years too early. And then when I wrote my first book in 2005, it was called The Future of Music. In the book, we had a theme that we got from David Bowie, who said, music will be like water. Like a utility. And we went to that, with that we went to the record label. The record label said, no, that's a very bad idea, because it will bring down the price. And what do we have today? Spotify, iTunes, many other services. We have 110 million people paying 10 euros a month to listen to music in the cloud. So that's a good lesson to learn. It's about timing, it's about context, it's about understanding, and sometimes about breaking the paradigm. When music first came around, digital music, people said, oh, digital music sounds really bad, it's MP3s or streaming. Turns out people didn't care all that much. Now we have 20 million songs in the cloud and the quality is quite good, but it's not like a record. There's 20 million songs for 10 euros. So you can see the future of how services will shake out, right? This is all about fluidity and design and all these kind of things. I'll comment more on this shortly. So I have 10 points with you today, and we're going to have a short discussion later on before we head over to the Brötchens and the drink, right? So, first, the future is not going to be linear. The future is not a stepwise approach, like it has been 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago, we didn't have a lot of the technology that would actually work. I mean, it cost you $1 million to build a good website 15 years ago. And now it's Amazon, AWS in the cloud. Just click a few times, you got your website. I mean, we didn't have all the things like 4G or soon 5G, quantum computing. We didn't have all those tools. And now technology is exploding, and this is probably the most important curve of the day. You've seen it before, Moore's law, Metcalfe's law, and so on, and Wiener's law. But basically the difference is we're no longer in the beginning of the curve. 15 years ago, you were at 0.01, you would double to 0.02, 0. It was pointless. Remember the paperless office? We talked about the paperless office 15 years ago. Didn't go anywhere. Now we have it, kind of. Not everywhere, but many places. Took 15 years. So just because it hasn't happened the first time doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. It's very important to realize the timing. And right now with the exponential curve, the black dot really is where we are. It's taken from a Hemingway novel, where he talks about how people go bankrupt. And the process is very slowly and then very fast. And when we think about our businesses, that's really what it is. And first, we don't see anything, and then all of a sudden it just goes either all the way down, all the way up. Nokia, BlackBerry, all companies that used to be very much in the up, and 5 years later is like broken off piece there. But it's very important for us to realize that if we think linear like humans, we are humans, we think linear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We think that in 10 years we're going to be a little bit different. But in 10 years we're not going to be a little bit different, we're going to be exponentially different, right? I mean, look at the numbers, 8, 16, 32, 64. Not everything is exponential, of course. Like, transistors in a computer are no longer going to be much smaller than they are now. That requires 3D computing. It's all different speeds, of course. But generally speaking, Moore's law is still very much alive. The device I use today to make phone calls, well, I don't make many phone calls here, to do whatever I do on here. Right? This device has the same computing power that brought the Americans to the moon. Same entire device. In 10 years, 1 million X, 10G networks, instant download, and 5G will get you about 1 gigabyte of download. That's not just good for listening to music or movies. It is good for anything. Telemedicine, tracking, the Internet of Things, instant communication, remote working. I mean, 1 gig a second. You can literally step into cyberspace in your, augmented reality suit. So if we keep thinking that the world is going to be just a little bit different, then we're totally mistaken. And it's quite clear that whatever works today actually has very little chances of working in 10 years, because the context is so different. Today in the music business, we don't sell music. What do we sell? Well, Spotify doesn't sell music. I mean, music is free. 20 million songs for 10 euros, that means every song is basically free. What does it sell? Interface, design, ease of use, experience. I mean, if you're a Spotify user, I think you know what I'm talking about. We don't have Spotify because it's cheap. YouTube is cheap. Right? Yeah. Apple, whatever you prefer to use. Or, BitTorrent, right? Or Popcorn Time, or whatever you're looking to use for free. And it just happens to be illegal, but 10 euros, okay. So, this is about experience. It's really important. I'll talk more about that, what that means and where that's going to take us in the near future. So, working on this new thing I've been, after this book, working on a couple of principles. I call this the future principles. I want to start with this because as I was listening earlier, I figured it would be a good place to start. The future is exponentially fast. So in 10 years, the changes will be so mind-blowing. In 20 years, the kids of our kids will live to be an average of 100 years old. 100 years. The kids of my kids will not know how to drive a car, they'll just talk to it. It'll be forbidden to drive their own car. To get a special driver's license to drive anywhere. That's a pain. If you're from Germany, you hate the idea, of course. But, so I mean, we're talking about fundamentally different. And then the other thing is that industries are converging. I mean, you think in the software industry or whatever you think, all of a sudden you realize banks are software companies. Pharma companies are tech companies. Tech companies are healthcare companies. Car companies become digital companies. What's the limit? All converging. Alibaba, Baidu, China. Alibaba has 67 divisions. They'll do basically everything. You can spend your life with Alibaba. So I live in Switzerland. When you go to the mountains in Switzerland, the Swiss farmers and the Swiss little Straussies, you know, where they sell the coffee and stuff for terrible prices. If they don't have Alipay, the Chinese aren't coming. They gotta have Alipay. They are somewhere in the mountains in Switzerland. That's how powerful Alibaba has become. It's basically the platform for everything. So converging industries and then combinatorial disruption, which means the power of science and technology is not just impacting one thing, like cloud computing. It's impacting everything. For example, Airbnb is a company that has combinatorial technology. Mobile, social, database, artificial intelligence. And what do? They're on the cloud. I mean, what do they actually do? I mean, I love Airbnb, but you have to say, it's a pretty genius business model. Now Airbnb is going to start to build houses. That's the latest rumor. Because now they're going to go back into the physical world. So these three principles, exponential, combinatorial, converging. So in 5 years, you may find that your industry is all of a sudden converging with another. That's called a food chain conflict. In other words, what you used to eat, the guys that you used to work with are now eating. If you're a bank, you're going to be eaten from all sides. Simple transaction fees will be somebody else, will be the social media companies, sending money, instant peer-to-peer loans, and lots of companies eating a little piece of your pie. And in 10 years, nobody will know who Sony Music is, or EMI, or Warner Music, or Universal, except for those that have to pay the license fee, you know, for Spotify. But in 10 years, would an artist still sign with a label? I mean, when I was an artist, I made 20 records, I signed with Sony because the only way you could get out there was with a record label. What do you do today? Well, you go on YouTube, Instagram, you hire a marketing manager. I mean, tremendous changes there. So it's very interesting to see, I think many things that we think of in the future is not an extension of the present. It's very unlikely to be completely the opposite. If you're Audi or BMW or Mercedes, you've already gotten used to this idea. 7 years ago, we laughed about this idea of self-driving cars and car sharing, and who in their right mind would share that car, right? So car sharing, self-driving cars, electric cars. And what do they say today in Germany? We're not in the car business. We're in mobility business. It's a whole different mindset. So if you're in the service industry, think again. I think you're in the experience industry. That is a whole different thing. How you make money, what you provide. If you think you can save your world by having great technology, you're mistaken. If you don't have great technology, you won't even be there to witness the rest of it. That goes without saying. But the real value of a company is something different than having fancy tech. I'll explain why in a second. So, three things, right? Science fiction is becoming science fact, gradually then suddenly. Converging industries like media, telecom, technology, health, pharma, and B2B and B2C are converging. It's interesting to see when I talk to B2B companies that provide services to businesses, they're not used to the fact that customers look at them now and say, well, I want these guys to have the same cool interface like Facebook or like LinkedIn. I wanted it to work just like that. And of course, you know, if you're a B2B provider of whatever it is, marketplaces, chemistry, whatever you use, it's not. It's old IT. A huge amount of pressure there. Massive disruption by combinatorial business model. And that's, you know, we haven't even seen the beginning of this. We're still only at the very first phase. So I call this a future mindset. So I would say that's the first exercise tonight when you come home. How will you acquire a future mindset? To understand what's happening. exponential, combinatorial, converging. And that means just observing, like I showed the years earlier, that's a very important symbol, just paying attention to things. So I'll give you a couple of examples on why science fiction and how science fiction is becoming science fiction. Some of that is a little bit far-fetched still, like the drone delivery. I don't really believe that's a very good option in many of our cities. But, it's possible. Now, when you think about 10 years from now, you can basically say that pretty much whatever we think may become possible. Genetic engineering of humans, intelligent machines. I mean, it's 10, maybe 20, it's not 50 years. We already had the first Chinese doctor who did an operation with a technology called CRISPR-Cas9 to change the genome of the baby. I think he's in jail now, awaiting his further fate. But there's lots of discussions about what this is called. We have to use our imagination. Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. And now it's getting even more so, because obviously machines can have knowledge. Until 10 years ago, machines didn't have knowledge, they were programmed. They were as dumb as a toaster. Today, we look at the machine says, you know what, I've seen 114 million data feeds with this, and I think this answer is correct. In Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles has all of their traffic lights connected with an AI. The AI says, the artificial intelligence, if we slow it down a bit over here and make it better over there, and traffic flows better, we can save 10% gas. Could a human do that? No, impossible. So that happens pretty much every day around us today. And here's the challenge for us. Technology is exponential, it does this. Humans do grow a little bit, we are linear, but we are improving, getting older, but not like a machine. A machine is unlimited. You give it more computing power, more CPUs, it will do more work. It's a good slave. But nature is cyclical. Dinosaurs come up, there's an event, they die out. The next wave comes up, humans come up, hopefully don't die out. But basically, it's like this. We have to bring this all together and say, well, basically, we can't compete with machines that are smart. At least not in what machines can do. And what do machines do? They do processing. If this, then that, zeros and ones. But unlimited. And that has consequences for our lives. Basically, technology is exponential, but we are not, and we have to think about what it's taken us. I'll come back to that in a second later. So first, I want to go through 9 specific scientific and technological game changers. And you've probably seen some of those, and it's quite a shock to see them together like this. But basically, I mean, if you look at all of those together, you can say, oh my God, how will I possibly understand this? So it was mentioned earlier, data is the new order. The possibility that we have data everywhere. Cloud computing? No. Stick around, please. My fancy clicker, disappointing me. 80 euros spent for nothing again. So, data is the new oil, right? Data is everything. The leading companies in the world are data companies. They're no longer oil and gas, or banks, data companies, social media, search engines, top 20. Mind-boggling. The top 4 companies on the internet, Apple, Facebook, Alibaba, and Google, have more money than the GDP of France. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Of course, Zuckerberg is the most powerful man in the world. He runs a country of 2.5 billion people, and if Mark decides tonight that your newsfeed will be gone, then it will just be gone. I mean, basically that's what he does. He's like the biggest autocrat we've ever had. Just as a side note, and we have artificial intelligence, we have, of course, 3D printing, which is now becoming real. We have cloud computing, we have quantum computing. Microsoft and other companies, IBM, are working on this. Quantum computing means in a 3D gas environment, not with transistors. And that becomes eventually what's called supercomputing. So roughly in 5 years, we'll have machines that can do 1 million times the transactions that I could do in this box. 1 million times. So that means my DNA check in 8 seconds. So if you're on a date and you're contemplating further activities, you can match your DNA instantly with your mobile phone and say, well, this probably won't be good if we, mix up DNA, so to speak. So, I mean, mind-boggling virtual reality, HoloLens and so on, the Internet of Things, blockchain, and finally, human genome editing. So these 9 things are coming together. We have to understand what they do, which ones are actually further away, which ones are closer. So I will give you a summary of what are the most important, the 3 most important. Indeed, data is the new oil. Artificial intelligence is the new electricity. And the Internet of Things is the new nervous system. McKinsey says roughly a value change of $100 trillion. So the companies that own the data have the power. The companies that have enough computers to make the data smart, using intelligent machines. And then lastly, connecting everything around us. Smart city, smart farming, smart banking. I mean, we put this all together. I think it's the biggest gold rush you could possibly imagine. Now there's a drawback to the gold rush, I'm sure you're aware of that, just like the old gold rush. It can be both heaven or hell. So in other words, if you're in business, this is great. Because you can track everything, you can make everything work better, you can be more efficient, you can be faster, and you can be cheaper. And the big companies, the biggest companies in the world, all they want to do basically using these kind of technology advances to get rid of as many people as possible. Because if machines can be intelligent, why would you have people that are only doing a little piece of this and they get tired, they have a union, things like that. And this is a very, very big discussion, but of course there's an upside. Because as we're creating this ubiquitous technology, we're creating very, very, very many new jobs. Take social media. Social media didn't exist 10 years ago, and maybe it won't exist in 10 years, who knows? Goes on like this, but it has created 21 million jobs in 10 years. I mean, every company now has a social media manager. It was unknown 10 years ago what that is. So, there's hope for those kinds of things. I think ultimately it's both opportunity and challenge. What it comes down to, you will have at your disposal, everybody in this room, in the next 3 years, the most powerful tools ever invented in technology. So in power terms, like a nuclear bomb, basically. You can build a machine that thinks like a human. You can build a machine that has access to all information. And so what we need is also a balanced approach to how we do this. Until now, we could say, if it works, we'll use it. Like tracking, advertising on the internet, tracking your face recognition when you go shopping. Because until now, it didn't really work so well. So it didn't have all the side effects. But if you go to China, you can clearly see, tracking is everywhere in China. You cross the street as a Chinese citizen, in most cities, you'll be tracked through face recognition. If you cross at a red light, you get a ticket via WeChat for crossing the street. I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing, we can discuss later. It must be a big source of revenues, But another example of what that does for shopping, for example. but I'm from Germany originally, we would say, you know what, this is not really what we want. I don't want, you know, the Prada store to recognize my face, and, you know, it's creepy. Americans would say, hey, that's great, they recognize me, I get a coupon. And Chinese people would say, well, I'm recognized everywhere, so it doesn't matter. So it's very much a cultural question how we react. But I can tell you one thing, in the field services business, if you don't adapt to these kind of possibilities, I mean, people are going to be using those everywhere. And then you just have to draw a line and say, this is maybe not so good if we do this. For example, Netflix is a great, you guys are Netflix users, some of you, right? Great example. Netflix actually commissions new TV shows based on your behavior on Netflix. It knows when you're watching, how loud you're turning it up, if you're connected to other devices, how often you come back, how often you share. It knows everything about your habits, just like Amazon knows that on the Kindle. But then the other day, Netflix sent a message on Twitter saying, you know, to all of those 457 people who have been binging on House of Cards for the last 24 hours, it's time to get up. They basically identified all the people who were non-stop watching House of Cards and sent a message on Twitter that they should stop. That to me feels like a sort of policy abusive, you could say. And then you wonder about how far would they take it? Because you can also derive personality traits from your listening habits, watching it. So there's many, many issues about this, where we can go with this, but bottom line is, well, we have 11 mega shifts that I write about in the book that will change our business, commerce, and society. And I would say to 90% good, but definitely a very big challenge. Here they are. You can download all of that for free, actually, the whole chapter, megashifts.digital, easy to remember, in 12 languages, not Dutch, I'm sorry, but everything else. So 12 languages there. And basically what, you know, when people talk to me about digital transformation, I always have a very good laugh. I get a lot of phone calls, people saying, you know, hey, you know, we want to transform. We want to digitize. Well, it's not just like, you know, you're going to, you know, get a mobile app or something. There's actually 11 different things, and I call them mega shifts. They're basically all going across each other. I'll explain some of those. You can read the rest of the book. But here's the most important one. Technology is no longer stupid. It's still pretty stupid, like I showed you earlier. But it's getting there. Google Home, Amazon Alexa, and so on, it's becoming cognified. I wouldn't call that thinking, but definitely more intelligent than before. It can learn. Technology can learn. Databases can learn. They can go virtual. Like if you're in the manufacturing business, you have a digital twin, what's called a digital twin, which is a copy of the actual machine. And you can look inside to see what's happening, like in an airplane. And you can analyze processes and so on. That's virtualization. Of course, robots are becoming as cheap. You know, the most functional robot 15 years ago cost about $200,000. And today, Baxter costs $14,200. Does the same thing. In 10 years, it will be $1,000. Augmentation. I mean, the glasses, you know, that Google launched years ago, they were just kind of an opening salvo. Now we can have glasses as a doctor. I can see the world like Tom Cruise. I can go inside, pull out the data. I can be superhuman. Automation. Robotic process automation. I mean, basically any job that can be automated will be. I'll tell you later why that's not bad news. Sounds like bad news. But I mean, that's basically what's happening with the mega shifts. But this is a very big topic, so please do read up on this a little bit later. A short video on what that actually means. The Microsoft HoloLens, which is a great augmented reality tool, shows what is possible when the mega shifts are being put to work. You heard about the connected elevator earlier. I think it was Schindler, right? Schindler. So this is a different company, but I have not mentioned it. Same idea, right? I mean, think about this for a second. Why would people buy a connected elevator? I An elevator that gives you analysis of the use. Who cares? That, you would argue. But now it turns out the data of the elevator is really important. For analytics, for, you have a question?
No, for elevator companies?
Yeah, for the companies, yes. But for the user, now the user actually says, the buyer, the building company says, we want a talking elevator. They can connect. So it's actually going both ways. It's really changed the paradigm of how we do things. That brings me to point number 4. I mean, when you talk about services, it's really quite clear what's happening is that because of digital technology, we're able now to provide experiences. You know, there's been lots of research on the human brain, what actually matters most to humans. And I think you know what that is. You know it's not the iPhone, it's not Netflix, it's not all of that. It's experiences, engagement, relationships. It's not about technology. And in fact, you could say, I always say jokingly, you will not find happiness on the screen. That's the reason. Because the screen is just a way of reaching something else. So it's really interesting to see what we see in economic terms. Now technology allows us to build experiences. I'll give you some examples. But if you go up the food chain, you can clearly see whoever is at the bottom of the food chain, commodities, products, telecom companies, they're doing pretty good, amazingly actually, still doing good. But what is their future? I mean, how much cheaper can it get? That's why they're all trying to bundle content and things like that into their offering, so they can move up the food chain. You have to move from products and goods and services to experiences and transforming the way that they customer things. That's why Apple and Amazon are so powerful, especially Amazon. You know, when Jeff Bezos invented the Kindle, he didn't go to people and say, let's do some focus group and see who would like an electronic reader. Nobody knew what a Kindle was. He said, I think I'm going to make an experience. It's going to transform the publishing business. He spent $3 billion on building the Kindle before he had any proof. Proof was just here, or wherever, somewhere. And now he owns publishing, basically. All my books go through the Kindle. Do I need a publisher? Maybe, I don't know, hard to say. But yeah, it works fine without one. So now the world has changed and the experience like this, because the other thing that's happening is that experience is commoditized, everything else. So whoever gets the experience right commoditizes everybody else on the food chain. Again, telecom, great example. Telecom companies, if they stay down here, they become commoditized because they compete on price. So if you're providing services to your customers, you have to move up the food chain to change who they are. You have to personalize, customize, create uniqueness. Why is the New York Times, for example, having such a great success for digital subscription, what's called a paywall? You actually pay for the news for the New York Times. Because the New York Times has created an offering that becomes an experience, it becomes unique, and of course, they're against Trump, which helps. So everybody puts down a couple of $100 a year, and their revenues are soaring. And everybody thought they were dead. It's really important that we move in this direction. I'll give you some examples from this. Airbnb. As much as we have critique of Airbnb on the behavior and taxes and all that stuff, they make a very good case study. Now they are no longer satisfied with just giving us the empty places to rent and sharing that there, but now we can share experiences. So when you go to a location, you can buy a fishing trip, you can go dancing, you can go to a recording studio, you can get a massage, you can do whatever through Airbnb. And it's done in the same way. So the other day I was in Lisbon, I took a cruise with a boat, met some really great people there, did another experience cooking, some Portuguese food. It's like dating, some built into the app. It's already about 20% of Airbnb's revenue is experiences. They call it experiences. So build something like this, and very powerful stuff. Spotify, of course. Who pays for Spotify for the music? Nobody pays for the music. The music is just, that happens to be there as well. We pay for the interface, for the ease of use, for the synchronization, for the playlists, for the fun, maybe for being legal a little bit. Allegedly being fair to the artist, question mark. But, it's working. I mean, who would have thought 10 years ago that we would spend $10 a month on music? 10 years ago we said, no, music is free. Forget it, it's dead. Now it turns out, we're not actually selling the music. We're selling everything else. This is a great example. And they went to the stock market, did really well, but of course they're still stuck with a record label, so a different problem. Here's the Siemens digital twin. They're creating an experience where you can virtually go into the machine, through a 3D mirror essentially. Very powerful stuff. And of course the HoloLens again for financial transactions. So if you're buying stock, you can actually go inside this sort of Tom Cruise type of thing, right? That's also an experience. So it's very important, whenever you can create an experience, it beats everything else. And that should be the first question you have for your service people. How do we create an experience that is so sticky, so powerful, that people don't want to leave? Because you know what the principle of digital Darwinism is? When you can't be dispensed, you will be dispensed. That's how it works. 10 years ago, I wrote research reports about the future of Europe or whatever I wrote on, and we sold them for 10,000 euros a piece. It was a good business. And then it turns out, you can get the answer to those questions on Twitter and Google Trends and IBM Watson. Because, it's mostly about facts and logic and collecting. So I don't sell those anymore. I do CEO coaching. CEO comes to me, wants to hear about the future, does not have a clue about anything. So it's not about knowledge, it's about understanding. That's how we have to mutate our thinking. So I'll talk a little bit about human intelligence and artificial intelligence, a very popular topic. These days, we always talk about this convergence of humans and machines. There's lots and lots of stories. The best thing you can do when you think about this, do not think about Hollywood. Do not think about Black Mirror. Do not think about all the great movies you watch on these topics, because they're primarily about fear. And the fear distorts the picture, because really what we have today, we're far away from this convergence of humans and machines as it's been depicted in so many ways. For example, self-driving cars. A truly self-driving car that drives like me doesn't exist. I can go to Palo Alto and drive with a Waymo in the suburbs. But I can put my 5-year-old kid in the Waymo, he can also drive. Because there's nothing there. There's just big roads and a few stop signs. Very simplified. Do the same thing in Rome or Beirut, or even Amsterdam with all the bikes. You're dead. 2 meters and you have an accident. What we have today, autonomous cars, is level 4. You can take your hands off, you can do your emails, you can read the newspaper. You can't really sit in the back yet. But that's very powerful. I mean, I drive Tesla sometimes, I rent one. I think it's great in Los Angeles, rather than dealing with the traffic jam, I can just sit back and, close my eyes a little bit, snooze off on the jet lag. It's fine. But I'm still there. There's very big difference when we think about technology in such a way, because this is really what we are, compared to machine intelligence. Humans have about 8 or maybe 10 different types of intelligence. And we don't really know how they all hang together quite yet. For example, we know that emotional intelligence is a really important character trait. Allegedly, women have a lot more of that than men. There's been lots of studies about why that is. But now, if you ever talk to an HR person, what they want most from new hires is emotional intelligence. Understanding, compassion, putting facts together, putting feelings together, organizing things, negotiation. Social intelligence, understanding how things actually work. Like, the average person can recognize another person in 0.4 seconds without saying a single word. So when we meet later, of course you've already seen me here, but if we had into 0.4 seconds, you would be able to say, am I interesting or potential threat, or because we see the world like this. Smell, sound, sight. Computers calculate. They can't change their mind. They don't understand mystery, for example, or secrets. That's why computers hate privacy. It's just sort of sand in the gearbox. Like, anything that makes us human is bad for machines, because the machines think, what are these people doing? They're making mistakes, they're lying, they're cheating, they're coming up with new stuff, they're changing their mind. generally humans are a pain in the butt. That's who we are. We're actually the opposite. So when you think about this emotional intelligence kinesthetic, our body, have you seen the movie Her? Great movie, yes. Gotta watch it, okay? So the guy falls in love with his operating system. It's one of the best science fiction movies you can watch on this topic. And it turns out the biggest problem is that she's very real, you know, Samantha, which is, what's the name of the Norwegian actor? But Samantha, the OS, talks to him and they actually fall in love and all this stuff. And after a while at the end, he asks her, you know, so how many people do you have the same relationship with than you have with me? And she says, currently 3,473. Because she doesn't have a body. So the body is kind of important to us. You know, it's not just something that we think with, that we put our head on. So this is very important to realize. And when this happens, our intelligence is completely different. That doesn't make a machine bad, because a machine can do this, right? A machine can handle what used to be called the left brain, the logic, the facts. The machine is superior there. As long as it doesn't take any judgment or emotions, which it does take quite a bit. You know, even the most simple job, like driving, takes this. That's a very big challenge. Do not let your kids learn anything that is on this part of the brain in the old sense, you know, that the computers will take over. Because ultimately, this is the situation for us in terms of technology. Humans can get right to the goal. It's about understanding. Emotional impact. Like you said with the customer is trying to say something, you know, he doesn't really want to complain too much. But you realize the feeling of the customer. You just know it. You can read between the lines. That's what we do. The computer does not. The computer can read between the lines when he has the data. And he has endless data, of course. But understanding, compassion, empathy. Well, think about this for a second. The most advanced face recognition in the world that the FBI is using, and that Facebook is also using in the back end, can look at all my facial muscles, and it does that with every single picture you upload to Facebook, by the way. And it says that 61% of the time that you upload your picture, you're tired. That's not hard to tell. You know, combination of muscles, basically. Not infinite universe, right? But does the computer know what it is to be tired? Does it even know what a face is? It doesn't. It has just seen a million patterns of what tired people look like. And therefore, you are tired. That's quite a difference when you think about it, what machines can do, what humans can do. It's a great thing called the Moravec paradox. Whatever is very simple for a human is very hard for a computer, and vice versa. And this is the principle of artificial intelligence. Let's give the machines what they're good for. Calculation, putting numbers together, recognizing patterns, doing the donkey work, doing the menial work, doing the stuff we don't want to do, doing the stupid stuff. The things that doesn't take our ingenuity. And the machines will, of course, in the next 10 years dramatically expand how much they can do there. But we shall not let them do stuff that requires human judgment, like laws, probation, criminal justice, biology, because they don't know. And this is going to be our challenge, especially in your business. How much can you automate? The answer is, you should automate whatever you can that is not going to be humanly important. And that's not an easy question to answer, obviously. Like, you know, you use Gmail. If you use Gmail, then our Gmail has an auto response. You've seen that on Gmail, right? So when you get an email, Google says, you can answer no, because you usually say no. And you save like 1/3 of a millisecond. That's not so relevant, but if Google was actually writing my doctor thesis, you know, that would be more relevant, because it's just a different level of engagement. So this is what machines do, and the best definition of artificial intelligence of what's called cognitive computing is from Demis, from DeepMind, the most famous company that built the AlphaGo, the machine that could play Go. He says AI machines are computer systems that turn data and information into knowledge. And I think this should be the latest point to where you get worried and say, wait a minute, knowledge? Isn't that what I have? I mean, if you've been in this business for 30 years or whatever, you have knowledge. And you pride yourself in knowledge. What kind of knowledge does a computer have? Logic knowledge. Very powerful, but you see the world like this, so you can see the customer in their entirety, and the computer sees it like this, it's narrow. So in the ideal world, if you could stay like this and the computer can be like this, that should be a powerful combination. As long as the computer doesn't go in a black box and says, you know what, I know a lot more than you do, and this is right. And then you can just say, well, yeah, I guess so, tick the box. So that would not be so good. But then clearly we're going to see the world evolve in this way. And now we have artificially intelligent systems that give us advice everywhere. I don't know if you use Google Home or Amazon Echo, Siri, Cortana. Constant notifications saying, you know what, this bag is better than this bag. Or this, this date is better than this date. You swipe left, swipe right, and you're done. That's the AI speaking to us. But the bottom line really is this. Another paradox, we know a lot more than we can tell. In fact, Marvin Minsky, the creator of artificial intelligence, said that we can do the best things the easiest that we actually don't think that we can do. We don't think about it. And this is very important that we keep this. So this is also, of course, what makes it hard to think about technology and which way we go with this. Great example is a self-driving car. So here's a Tesla on a test drive doing really well. There's only Teslas on the road, of course, this is the US. Interesting. And I love it, I think it's a great achievement. Does it have to be like me? No. I mean, if I want to kick back and read the newspaper, I'd love to do this, but the bottom line really is this. Algorithms can outperform or will outperform humans, but it is not about understanding emotions, intentions, consciousness, self-awareness. This goes on. In other words, why not? But let's not think of this machine as being like us. They're not. And this machine cannot even watch my grandmother or translate a book. Again, it's as dumb as a toaster. You can just drive the car. That's it. Well, it's very good, but it's still not human. So that brings me to this important point for you. You think about your services. The future is about intelligent assistants, IA, not AI. IA means these are systems that work better than before. They're smarter software, they're integrated, they're understanding data feeds. They can do all the stuff that we couldn't do before. And that's currently about 90% of all applications, I would say 95% in fact. Machines that help us, they augment us. And this is a good thing, even though it will be disruptive to work. The next level, moving up the scale to machines that can be broadly intelligent, AI, that will create all kinds of issues like the black box. Do we believe them? Do we not? What we don't want is this one, what's called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. We do not want machines that have an IQ of 1 million. They can connect to other machines in the cloud. They can simulate human emotions that are basically unpluggable and uncontrollable, as many people have said before. That's probably too much of a good thing. So I can guarantee you in roughly 10 years we're going to see, hopefully before that, even a sort of memorandum on the banning of this kind of technology. We will have everything else because it's very powerful, but the last part is sort of existential to us. So we can discuss later when we have the questions. Give you a short example. Here's the CEO of Google showing the latest product. They announced a product called Google Duplex, that you may have heard about. Really funny, about half a year ago. Google Duplex can actually make phone calls on your behalf. Because basically they put together a whole bunch of sentences that are standard responses, and they can call your hairdresser, make an appointment, they can call your dentist, they can call people and make the calls for you. That didn't go over too well. I mean, think about this idea of a machine calling your favorite restaurant. That would not work here. Now they have a machine that does something completely different, also very interesting.
So we are looking at rental car bookings as well as movie ticketing. Today, when you make a new reservation online, you have to navigate a number of pages and steps, filling out information, and making selections along the way. I'm sure you're all familiar with this experience. It's time consuming, and if users leave during the workflow, businesses lose out as well. We want to make this experience better for both users and businesses. So let me show you how the assistant can do it better. Say you get a calendar reminder about an upcoming trip, and you want to book a rental car. You can just ask Google, book a national car rental for my next trip. The assistant opens the national website and automatically starts filling out your information on your behalf.
How does it do that? Well, that's obviously not intelligent like Transcendence or like Ex Machina. It just has read all your emails. And it's seen your calendar. And it's putting two and two together and it's doing your forms. That's going to be our future, those kind of things. But thousands of those. I mean, these are intelligent systems, and we're going to use this for service, of course, right? CRM, ERP, clearly. I mean, you could see already Salesforce and others going in that direction. And HANA and SAP and many other companies. I mean, clearly intelligent control like this will be the future. So you see on this quadrant here that basically we're moving into the exponential future, and we have to be very careful that we don't end up in the top quadrant here. That is the most benefit and the most negative, potentially. And that's genome editing and intelligent machines. So we have to be sure that we stay in somewhat controllable places. Big debate about how exactly that would happen. The number one topic these days, digital ethics. How do we control this? I mean, it's kind of harmless when you follow the Google map, or you can fill out your online form with Google. That's more or less harmless. But when you think about that as a chain reaction, setting off many other things, you got to think about the future there as well. Point number 6, the future of work and jobs. First, clearly routine is going to be done by machines. You can see clearly expectations, World Economic Forum here, that jobs are becoming basically routine work will be done by machines. And you can see what's already happening. Many stats show in this direction that non-routine work is the future. In which case, you're pretty well off, because the fact that you're here means that you probably do non-routine work. But also, freelance work, especially in the Anglo societies, not so much in Europe, we still have a problem with that. And of course, this morphing of old jobs and new jobs. You can see the old jobs like agriculture, manufacturing melting down, and then new ones coming in. I mean, it's a reality that we have to face. Basically, the end of routine is coming. I'm sure we're very happy to see this because we really don't want to do much routine. I mean, who loves routines? There's something to be said about some routines, but generally speaking, the donkey work, so to speak, if we can outsource that, we're going to. I mean, we're using automation already everywhere, like Salesforce, a great example that even we use for this. So basically this, the end of routine is near. Whatever can be done by machines will be. Now, the Oxford report last year said roughly 65% of all jobs can be automated. There was a new report saying, yes, that's true, but only 5% of all of those jobs can be completely automated. For example, a truck driver. Can you automate a truck driver? Yes, you can, on the highway going from Berlin to Hamburg or Berlin to Munich. Right? They can all drive in one big lane, but when they have to get off the highway, automation will be difficult. So they're still in there, but they get to speed. So I would say that is both good and bad, but clearly, routine is, I think the end of routine is not the end of our work. I mean, think about your work. Just make a list of all your routine jobs. If you could get rid of the routine, what else could you be doing to create value? You could do amazing things. I mean, I looked the other day again at my work, 50–60% of the time is monkey work, right? Or organizing, invoicing, or making sure Google AdWords are running, and all these kind of things. So, what could I do if I had that time unlocked? I could do different things. I talk a lot to doctors about this, and doctors are now facing the fact that very soon in the near future, we have little robots running next to us who are connected to a giant cloud, and the robot and the cloud has read every single report that has come out momentarily on the internet worldwide. So, oncology, 350 new oncology cancer reports per week. about 140 pages each, including images. You think the doctor has time to read all that stuff? It's impossible. The machine can read it, and the machine can say, you know what, I've seen this before. Have a look here. Does that make the doctor more powerful or less? Well, the doctor can say, well, great, I can take this into consideration. Or the doctor can say, great, I can now do 5 times as many patients because the machine makes me faster. Or you could say, I can now talk to the patient, I have more time. So the end of routine is not going to be the end of your work or my work. It is the end of people who do only routine. And there are some of those that we have to deal with, clearly, like call center. You guys are all familiar with that, what that means? So basically 21 million people in the world work at call centers. How much of that can be automated? People are estimating roughly 85%. That is not a job for the future, because the cost will also go like this. Bookkeeping, accounting, auditing. If it's creative, not about creative bookkeeping, right? But if it's creative, then we can be there. We have to make a decision. And now there's a software company called Xero, X-E-R-O, from New Zealand, and they automate bookkeeping. You feed in all the receipts, and they put in 40 languages, they do real-time transactions. For $200 a year, you can do what used to be $4,000 for your bookkeeper. And that's the future of what we see here. But for us, this opens up entirely new things. We have smart algorithms, and then we have the things that make us human. I call those the androrithms, the human things, not the algorithms. And those are going to become infinitely more important. Because the machine doesn't understand it. The machine doesn't understand intuition, compassion, mystery. The machine doesn't understand why it's important to be inefficient. Sometimes when you're dealing with a customer, you have to be inefficient. Because that's what creates a relationship. Relationship, experiences, engagement, emotions. Machines, zero. It can look from the outside and say, yes, I understand, it's not good. So basically that's also what our kids should be learning. These skills. I mean, all of our kids have to understand technology. That's out of the question. Right? Not understanding technology would be a very bad thing. But is their job of the future going to be beating the algorithm? They're not going to beat the algorithm. It's impossible. You can today because the machines aren't happening yet. 5 years, 10 years, game over. So our job, if you do services, is going to be here. Creating relationships, using technology, humans on top of technology. We're going to have different skills. The World Economic Forum, again, has put a list of skills, and these are the skills that we're going to learn every single day from now on. All the stuff, critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, cognitive flexibility. I mean, if you read this list, 10 years ago you would have said to the HR department, hire people like this. They would have laughed, they would have said, no, not ever would we hire a person like this because they're a pain. They're creating a mess. We just want people who function. Today you want people who do not just function, because functioning is a robot. A robot functions. So don't let your kids learn any of the old skills. It's basically about the balance between what's called the EQ, the emotional quotient, and the IQ. You want to have a job in 20 years, you better beef up on the EQ. IQ was always good. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd love to have more IQ. If I could, I would take a pill or something. But EQ is something that you have to work on. It's a process. IQ will not help you unless you're at the very, very, very top and such a genius that nobody can actually touch you. I mean, even a data scientist. I'll skip this because we have to wrap up. So, digital ethics. Basically what we see here is now that everything is becoming digitally transformed, and we have this joke that we stick in the old business and out comes the transformed business. And that's now happening everywhere. Value shift, smart farming, smart banking, possibly even smart government. Well, in some other countries, of course. And we have all this, this is what we're doing every day now. And now you're doing smart services, right? That's what you're doing, basically. That's the next 5 years. Before they were not disconnected and not using paper and all this stuff, and now it's becoming smart. That's what we're doing today. That's really nuts and bolts. It's not that difficult. We're connected everything, but here's the story on this. Everything should be as smart as necessary, but not smarter. Why is that? Well, clearly, if a machine can be smart, then up to a certain level, that's very powerful. But beyond that, it could be potentially abusive and also confusing me. Think, for example, TripAdvisor. Is TripAdvisor smart? Saying, yeah, it's a nice restaurant, it's a nice hotel. You would say, yeah, sometimes. Do you live by TripAdvisor? No. I mean, if you do dating, you can do Tinder. Is that smart? It can be, because it's an AI, basically. Now, there's an Indian platform called My Better Half. India, lots of marriages are arranged. So this is an AI arranging your marriage instead of your parents. Same idea. So I think that's a good sort of principle for our future. Think about, otherwise we may end up here. We may end up in a place where everything becomes like sort of a Skynet kind of scenario. We have to somehow find the balance there. Because I think this is really our challenge. Technology doesn't have ethics. I mean, this is robots, this is algorithms, they don't care. I mean, if I tell a robot to make paper clips out of you, it would make paper clips if it could. Just turn you into a clip. That's what robots do. That we cannot ask the machine to have values, and we shouldn't give them values. That would be very stupid. They should just get work done. So whenever you're using technology, you have to ask the question, is that actually good? Is it good for the customer? And of course, unfortunately, the answer is many times, it's good for me, but not so good for the customer. Like Facebook. Facebook has reversed now the whole logic. We used to be the people who are connecting on Facebook, and now Facebook is turning us into paper clips, basically. Digital paper clips. So when we do this, and this is our future, we're going to go into the cloud, everything. Our music, our books, our healthcare, our services, our banking, our insurance, because it's just 90% cheaper that way. It's a huge opportunity. The more we connect, the more we have to protect. That sounds like an oxymoron when you think about it. But basically, the more we connect and use this, we have to be sure that it's not being abused, that there is some sort of judgment and security and safety. And that's the more you do this, the more you have to be responsible for your clients. And I think this is something we have to think about. So when you think about being smarter and so in the future, I always say, if you don't have anything to hide, you're probably not human. I have this argument all the time. People say, you have anything to hide, or why should this be a problem? That all information is known. I mean, that's a stupid question. I'm sure you would agree. I think only non-humans would have nothing to hide. So, I got to wrap up, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. And I think we're heading into a world of what I call rehumanization. We were really excited about technology, and we are. But technology is not going to save the world just because it's clever, or it's fast, or cheap. In fact, I think when the world goes digital next 10 years, it's actually about us that will make the difference. What we stand for, what our purpose is, whether we can be trusted. Again, Facebook makes a great example. I don't want to ask, who would still trust Facebook in this audience, but Facebook trust is dive-bombing like a World War II plane. It's like, they go on like this, they're toast. Yeah, Facebook stock, shut it down. Just kidding. Because, trust. This is what we have to do. We have to put the human back inside. And that's not as easy as it sounds, because, of course, putting the human side in is expensive, right? Because humans cost money. So, we're now at this point, basically, technologies tell us, take the human out. Don't need him anymore. We can automate. But nothing could be further from the truth. We can automate the routines. That's good. But dehumanizing, no, I think we have to rehumanize. Put the human back in. Spend as much money on humans as we spend on tech. And of course, in both cases, that's going to be quite a challenge to figure out, how do we get this balance right between humans and machines? We have to keep an eye on this. On the one hand, we want all this stuff. We want privacy, identity, security, safety. We want all that stuff, autonomy, free will. And then we want this also, right? Liquidity and flow and revenue increases. So that's going to be a deal that we have to work out. Now I really have to wrap up. I want to just briefly talk about Bezos, because that's a great example. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, always says this: and everything I decide when it comes to really important things, data trumps intuition. He's been saying that for, 47 years, since he started doing this. And now just recently said, 3 weeks ago or so, at an event, he says, all my best decisions in business and life have been made with heart, intuition, guts, not analysis. You would not expect that from Jeff Bezos. Now I would say, make up your mind, which one is it? And the answer is, it's both. That's your job to figure this out. You cannot disregard data analytics and all that, of course not. But in the end, that's what it's going to come down to. So let me wrap up with the final points here. This one I'm not going to talk about. That will definitely not be a wrap-up if I do that, as you can tell. So I'm going to share the slides with you later so you can take a look. To remind you, the Future Mindset Part 2, we did Part 1 earlier. That was this, exponential, combinatorial. Part 2, we had to think holistic, circular, sustainable, put the human in the middle. Everything is going to be about this. Not just about exponential growth. More jobs, more money, more GDP. But it's going to be about holistic business models, circular economies, and putting the human in the middle. And that, I think we're going to see a new stock market unfolding in the next 10 years that uses those kind of principles. Sustainable stock market. So I always say we should embrace, but then transcend technology. Transcend meaning using it and leaving it behind. That's really what it comes down to, I think, for us. So the future of services, you've seen the game changers before. This is the future of services. Awesome humans on top of amazing technology. I think that those two things together is our plan for the future. And that's also, I think, in terms of our jobs and our positioning, how we can generate lasting value. So I think I will actually wrap up at this point. And I want to thank you for listening. And I quote David Bowie at the end, who said that the future belongs to those that can hear it coming. I think that's so true every time I speak to people. It's like when we think about the future in this way, we can find a way forward. Thanks very much for listening.